Hey guys, and welcome back to Inferno, where previously we hooked up Applied Energistics and we got this connected via storage buses all the way around our base, including the existing drawer networks, the occultism dimensional storage actuator, some of the remote storage like the outputs of our bees, and it's also entangled to the tier 3 warehouse here. Only we have a bit of a problem, and that is we are right on the edge of being able to power this. We're using the vibration chambers from Applied Energistics, and these things are absolutely terrible. We are not going to be able to scale with these at all. So today we're going to be doing some tech mods and generating some RF. The way in which exactly we're going to do that I haven't figured out yet. One thing I am certain of is that we need to upgrade our blacksmith hut. And I would also like to invest in the crusher. It looks like we require university research. I'm not sure if we actually have that yet, but it's going to go right here. And it's floating. Apparently it's floating, that's fine. Where would the research be though? Oh, here it is, requires a stonemason. Don't we have a stonemason? Isn't this our stonemason right here? Oh, this is a stone smeltery. I guess it's not the same thing. Okay, well, let's address these issues nice and early here. Let's get our stonemason. Oh, it is a quest. No capsule though, so it means that we have to wait on our builders actually constructing this whole thing from scratch. I think we'll put this next to our Fletcher building. Oh, that is a nice tier 5 building right there. A shame that it's only tier 2. Yeah, we've got a lot of upgrades still to do in our mine colony here. But yes, stonemason will go right here. Oh, did I just place that outside the colony borders? We might have to put a guard tower right around here, where I'm standing. However, I think we have some spare capsules to use for those. Yeah, we have a spare guard tower right here. Perfect. The placement on this path really isn't ideal. It doesn't leave us very much room to continue to expand. Yeah, I think it's important that we stick to the grid system. This way we can extend the path in both directions here. Another issue is since we're adding more work buildings, we will need some more citizens to fill the jobs. So either we need to upgrade the houses to tier 3, or we could add some more housing. And I think, honestly, I'm just going to add some more because we have lots and lots of housing capsules here we can use, which means that they'll be insta-built. I'm going to add at least 4, I think. And maybe 5. Yeah, we'll add 5 more houses. That probably means a few extra guard towers over in this region here as well. So here's a bit of a problem. To build this house, there are no builders close enough. I was under the impression they could build in the whole colony. It seems that is not the case though. So I have placed another builder down here, only to build this builder we need another builder. And we don't have houses, and we can't construct houses because we don't have builders. We are in a bit of a chicken and egg situation right here. I think though, if I recall, there is a way to manually override where the builders are actually sent. Is it this maybe worker hiring mode? You know, there is probably a way to do it, but I'm just going to upgrade some of these houses to tier 3. That should give us another builder. We can fill in that slot over there and then construct the rest of the houses. Using the capsules we had, I was able to add 5 more houses to our colony, as well as expand our road network to continue the grid system that we have around the mine colony. And while I was extending it, actually on the far west side of our colony, I managed to find this Enderbee again, who we lost during the livestream. Around the same point, the stonemason building had finished, which means we could pick up the research for the crusher inside the university, so that Julian could continue to construct the crusher building. You know what, before we move on today, let's actually upgrade the sawmill, and perhaps also the enchanter as well. I have a feeling we might need the upgraded enchanter here fairly soon. Alright, so the plan for today is to move on to Prometheus's Heresy, and we're going to be starting the Create mod. To do this, as you probably know, we need a decent amount of andesite alloy, and it looks like at least to begin with, we have to do this inside the Tinker Smeltery, which is zinc and andesite. Andesite we can actually buy from our villagers here, who still need a trading hall. Not exactly sure when I'm going to get that built, but I would like to do that at some point. Yeah, give me all your andesite. And the zinc we can actually get from the Genie Miner, which we set up last episode. Again, we need to find a permanent location for this guy as well, since it does give us some unique ores such as lead and not zinc. Oh, it's here. How do we process this? Oh, there's a lot of ways we could process this. And I think the most efficient way we have right now is just throwing it straight into the smeltery. Wait, we got brass. We might need brass actually. We do need brass for Create. There's a whole lot of mess in here. I need to move this as well. But yes, we do get andesite alloy here, which we just need to cast out into the ingot mold. And our first quest is to get the hand crank. I assume the water wheels are disabled. Yeah, I thought so. One, because we can't place water here, and second, well, I guess it technically works with lava, but there is no recipe, so we have to go a different method for SU generation. But the next quest is to make the mechanical press. Should be easy enough. The shaft we can make from the andesite alloy. And andesite casing actually, well, we have 15 stacks here from the mob farm. as well as a few other create items here actually. Could come in useful here pretty soon. Oh nice, gives us the engineer's goggles, that's going to be handy. And a rotation speed controller, interesting. Oh, and there's the wrench there. So the next quest is to get the copper plates. We can just do that with the basic depot setup and the hand crank. And I'm assuming copper ingots. Yes, awesome. Hey, this quest page is going very fast. So, fluid tanks, eh? So I think where this is taking us is actually going to be to make steam. And using steam, we're going to use the heat to power these steam engines. And powering the engines is how we're going to get the stress units and the rotational force to power the rest of Create. Oh, come on, it needs Skystone. Oh yeah, I didn't mention last episode. Apparently you can get Skystone from bees. But I don't think that is intended. It was a feature in 1.0.2, but we're now in 1.0.3, and in the patch notes it said that was removed, so I don't really want to do that, just in case it's not really intended. I guess we have to rely on the Genie Miner here. There is 8, which should be enough to get us started today. And before rushing ahead with Create actually, I think that it's quite important that we automate as we go and expand our current infrastructure. So to that end, we're going to make the zinc bee. Looks very, very similar to iron here. We are going to give the zinc bees their own apiary since it will produce us passive zinc. However, if we breed them with copper right now, we have 2 here, so we should be able to get 2 of these. Oh, they're on cooldown. I don't really know why these bees ended up on such low HP. We should make sure to heal them up here with some honey treats and wait for their cooldown to expire. Well, actually, in the meantime, I'm noticing there's quite a few bees we could easily pick up today, and it wouldn't be such a bad idea. The earlier we get the passive processes set up, the better. First of all, I started by giving the nomad bees crying obsidian to make them sweat bees. After duplicating the sweat bees a few times, we can breed them with iron for nickel, and breed them with magmatic for obsidian. Finally, nickel plus iron gives us the Invar bee, and nickel plus copper bees give us the Constantan bees, and zinc plus copper gives us the brass bee. Okay, that little segment right there, that took way too long. Oh yeah, and it was a couple of episodes back, I bred the Electrum bee, but we hadn't actually made Electrum yet to actually give them the feeding slab. So we can add them in here next to nickel. With all of these, I also had to make sure there was space in the drawers. So we can give a bit of time and a bottle to this. Pick it up just in case it's a quest. It looks like it's not. It gives us Electrum blend. We got 3 slots left on this drawer network. We also have to give Invar blend, I believe. And if you were curious, this is the current list of the bees. Very sizable list. But that's a good thing. That is a very good thing for us. And we actually haven't made any Constantan yet either. How do we make this? Yeah, we can do it in the alloy kiln here, which I don't know if we actually need here long term. I mean, once we get all the bees set up. Yeah, the Constantan is going to end up all the way at the bottom. This is glorious. I love this. Here, is going to be a space for them. Last slot available for the Constantan. Nice. Now we can move on with Create. Alright, so one of the main reasons we actually upgraded the blacksmith today, nothing to do with this, we're just making up some copper casing. We need this for the tanks. We need at least a tier 2 blacksmith who apparently is not finished yet. Wait a second, builders, what have you been doing the whole time? Don't tell me he's waiting on 1 block of quartz. I swear I just checked this clipboard, although it has been a while since I was messing with the bees. Yeah, we need at least a tier 2 blacksmith to make the steam engines. We need some andesite alloy, we need some Invar, which we now have from bees. We do need some polished rose quartz for the fluid pipes, something that can definitely be automated with Create. But right now we're just going to do it the manual way and use the sandpaper. Oh good, somehow we have 1600 rose quartz. I don't know where that came from exactly. And is it in offhand? Yes. Oh, and they've changed the sound for this thing as well. It used to have the same sound as the eating sound. It was a bit strange. Like that. Alright, let me craft up the steam engines and we'll start to get some power up and running here. So after clearing out a pretty massive space on the northern side of our base, I started to plan out a room for all of the tech mods. Create, FTB Industrial Contraptions, and Immersive Engineering is all going to be housed here. And so I wanted it to be bigger than anything we've built before. It did take some time though, I'll tell you that much. But since so much time had passed, it allowed for the blacksmith to craft a steam engine, which unlocks the recipe for us and allows us to craft it ourselves in the crafting table. I used our limited resources right now to batch craft a few of those. And also, since I spent so much time building, I also wanted to keep the mine colony busy. So in particular, I upgraded the smeltery, just in the hope to address the fact that our mine colonists don't process the ore that we get fast enough. And I think perhaps an extra house and the courier's hut also got an upgrade. And to bring the steam system together, we were also going to need a blaze burner, which means we need to find some blazes. Oh, turns out I didn't bring enough blaze burners. We actually need 22. And there's actually another blaze spawner right next to our base. That's the mine right there, I believe. I was out here like 2,000 blocks away. Well, yeah, there should be one under here, I think. Yeah, there's the blazes. Alright, we have our 22 blaze burners. I've spent the last few hours trying to prepare for the next part of this episode. I have a plan in my head of exactly how I want this to go, but this being Inferno, who knows how this is going to turn out. We'll see though. I do like the way this room turned out, and it's pretty big. Anyways, our blaze burners, as I've marked out here, are going to go on the floor. I found out though after I planned this out, I think you can have this set up 3x3, but it's already planned for 2x2, so we're going to stick with our guns here. Wait a minute, it's way more than 22. We still got the other side to do here as well. Anyways, let us get the first setup operational, and just to see if we need to make any tweaks to this before we go really large scale. I don't think we can afford all of them right now anyway. So, at least according to the ponder screen here, we need to fill these tanks with water. The water, when heated, is obviously going to create steam. And we have a spare eternal water bucket here, or water block. Can we just place that directly next to the tank, or do we need pipes? No, next to the tank seems to work. Okay, so now we have to actually fuel the blaze burners. And normally in Create, you would have to automate the cakes, the blaze cakes. However, here we actually have the creative blaze cake. This can drop from several mobs. We used to get it from the mob farm, but we've had a few from some apotheosis bosses. And with the blaze cake, it eternally keeps this thing heated. I think we can actually right click twice and it superheats it. Yeah, there we go. That does look awesome, especially with the warp blocks. Alright, so now we put our engines on the tank, and I think it should convert it into producing steam. The boiler status is level 2. I believe this goes up to 8 blocks tall, which is probably something we want to do at some point. So once we get to this point, all we have to do is add a shaft onto the engine. Not that way. I can't place these correctly. There we go, that's the way I want it. And so this, along with all of the other create contraptions, we can effectively power anything we want. We are generating 32,000 SU, that is a lot. I think the basic water wheel is only like 320, so this is well above anything we could ever manage with a water wheel. So we can even hook them all up together like this. And the quest also gave us the rotational speed controller, and we need a large cog for this to function properly. Yeah, I believe this goes on top of the rotational speed controller, and we can actually pick a rotation speed that this thing spins at. Assuming that we have enough SU to power the devices this is connected to. And that is really, really fast. 480 RPM. Or 448 rather. Alright, can we get any more fluid tanks? I don't know if we have enough skystone yet. That is really our main bottleneck. There's 10 more. We can apparently get 10 more tanks. And we have enough for about 2.5 setups here. So now that we have create power, we can actually power the contraptions such as the mechanical press, which we previously had to use the hand crank for. This can now be an automated process, and that is definitely something that we want to set up today. However, I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we were having some troubles with applied energistics, mainly the method in which we are actually powering the whole system. And if we want to expand AE into the boiler room and add some extra devices, well, that is also going to cost some more RF. So there exists an item called the Alternator, and this thing generates RF based on rotational force. I'm not exactly sure what the conversion rate is, but if we have enough boilers, we should be able to produce a decent amount of RF. So in order to start crafting this thing, we're going to need the mechanical crafters from Create, which does need a tier 3 mechanic, and also some brass casings. Yeah, fortunately the mechanic is tier 3, so I hope that we can just request this from the post box. I hope we only need one and that will unlock the crafting table recipe, similar to the steam engine. So I gave the items to the warehouse, it should show up here. Wait, is that it already? Aha, that was so fast. Wow, awesome, and we did unlock the recipe. Excellent. For the past few hours, basically all the time it took me to build that room though, Kaylee has been asking for bamboo. And it's supposed to come from the sifter here, who has a 9% chance when sifting grass through a string mesh to get bamboo. So to help cope with the demand for grass, I've given her like 10 stacks already. I added an extra quarry bee here for grass. We have an extra 3 stacks, we'll give her this. Hopefully we get it relatively soon here. Yeah, sift away for us. I wonder if it's intended to be more expensive in the crafting table than it is with the mechanic. It's actually missing the electron tube in the mechanic's recipe. Yeah, and to craft the alternator, we're going to need some iron rods, just 2 iron ingots, some copper spools. Can we make the... Oh yeah, the empty spool is easy enough. Copper wire we can also do in the crafting table. I'm going to make a few stacks because this is used everywhere. Iron plates and andesite alloy we should have, and the capacitors, which needs zinc plates. Oh yeah, that is super, super awesome. Those crafters never ever get old. Oh, that's so cool. Alright, so we got 10 of the alternators crafted. What we want to do now is actually combine the forces of all of these steam engines. However, as you can see, if we use gearboxes, well, I think it's just too fast for it. I think we can get around this issue if we use the encased chain drives, which keeps the direction... Oh, Yeah, these are going to be spinning in opposite ways. Aha, I was going to say we might need a gear shift, but actually I noticed here, if we hold the wrench, we can actually adjust the way that these things are spinning directly. And now we can plug in the chain drives, our rotational speed controller with the cog on top. We can spin this thing up to like 2000 RPM and plug in the alternator, and we're getting 1.4 thousand RF per tick. Not bad at all. So now all we need to do is send that energy to Applied Energistics. And to do that, the quest actually gives us some stuff. Well, that's some nice quest rewards here. But yeah, the last quest here gives us a Tesseract. Oh wait, we need to craft the electric motor for this. There we go, there is our engine. Or not the engine, the electric motor, which does the opposite. This will convert RF into rotational force. But yeah, the Tesseracts here I've heard are very, very buggy. So I'm not sure how much I actually trust these things, but we'll give them a go, we'll try them out. These things are similar to the 1.12 Ender IO Tesseracts, in that they can send fluids, energy, and items. We of course want energy, let's create a channel. Okay, so how do these things work? It's a public channel, we want this on send only, and I'm assuming we can just put this directly on the alternator and activate. Let's try the other one on the ME controller. Yeah, perhaps underneath the dense energy cells. This one we want on receive only, and activate. Is it doing anything? Oh great, the information is coming soon. I don't know if this is working. Maybe we disconnect this cable. Is it staying powered? It looks like it is, right? Yeah, these are staying full, which theoretically means we have access to over 1000 RF per tick. Alright, well, we might have to set up a hard wire between the controller and the alternator, but now that we have some RF, we can start to do some automations. And to get some automation set up, that means it's time for Applied Energistics autocrafting, finally. So first thing we have to do is make some Certus crystals. I think unfortunately we can only do this in blood. I think for now we're going to start off with 4 4K crafting storages, if we can. It doesn't look like the recipe is too bad here, I think it's actually default. Yep, this should be 4 4K ME storages. We need the crafting units, which is just more processors. These two together should give us the crafting storages. We need co-processing units. We'll try to get 3 per crafting storage. Perfect. We need a location for all of these things. I think it's appropriate to put them through the wall here, although we have to be careful of the mine. That's not too far away from where we are. Yeah, it's here. We should have enough space. I don't think we need to go absolutely crazy with these CPUs. So nothing too fancy right now. We're just going to get these hooked up and plugged in. Oh, that's a strange texture. Oh, I must have uncrafted them. That must be what it is. I think it's supposed to be the co-processing units. Yeah, so crafting storages determine how big the craft can be, the autocraft. And the more crafting co-processors you have connected to one multi-block, basically the more operations it will do in parallel. We will of course clean this up and expand this later on. Actually, we should be able to put the rest of the crafting co-processors like this. I believe the Certus crystals should be finished by now. Alright, so we are not going to worry about any of the molecular assembler recipes. We are going to start with the processing pattern recipes, and the thing I want to start with is actually the plates. We can do it with immersive engineering, with the rolling machine, or with the mechanical press, and I think we are going to go with this mechanical press. And we are going to do all of this in the boiler room, which also means that we need an Applied Energistics connection over there, so I've started doing some tunneling down here. There's not much we can do about this bee situation here, obstructing the tunnel, but we really only need access for one cable to go across here. We are going to run this all the way back to the controller, and sure, we could use entangled blocks, but too much spaghetti ain't good for you. I don't like mixing the cables up too much like that. And besides, it's not too much trouble just to run a line all the way down here. Oh my goodness, okay, I need to show you guys something. This is incredibly sneaky. So instead of actually taking the power away from this alternator and the RF production, since we need rotational force to power these mechanical presses, we are going to do something extremely sneaky right here. We can actually use these click machines. I can't place them. We need them right here, adjacent to the hand cranks. And these click machines do exactly as they say on the tin. They will click for us. We need to change it up to 2 seconds per click. Apparently it's powered by rainbow magic, so it's basically infinite. And this generates us 256 stress units, which might be near the maximum of this mechanical press anyway. Honestly, I don't think we actually need it faster than this. But doing it this way means there's absolutely no strain on the steam engines. Now then, to get this thing to autocraft, all we have to do is hook up some pattern providers. We have our pattern encoding terminal here. Let us start with the iron plate. It's just going to be an iron ingot equals 1 iron plate. We encode the pattern. Pattern goes inside any of these pattern providers. And now it should be requestable. Wait, did I miss a cable? I did miss a cable, look at that. That is amateur right there. Every single series that happens, every single one. Okay, there we go, it's now visible. Let's request like 10 of these things. That should put the iron on the depot. and it's going to press it into plates. All we need to do now is figure out a way to take the finished plates off and put them back into Applied Energistics. We don't want to stand here manually, right? And actually, I think these can go much faster, now that I'm looking at the speed. It's fine, we don't need faster than this, to be honest. How does the old saying go? You have to be inefficient to be efficient. Anyways, this episode, unlike last, we actually are going to have access to Laser IO. We should now have the ability to craft the lasers. The laser connector, we need some sheet metal slabs. I think we might need some more iron sheets, actually. Yeah, we've made the engineering processors. Iron sheet metal is just iron plates, which we will soon have automated. The laser connector does need some vacuum tubes, and also some steel mechanical components, which needs plates. Yeah, and now we can get the laser connector. I don't know if it's a quest or not. And also our first laser node. Oh yeah, there is also the cards, right? Oh, we need the cards. Oh, please don't tell me we can't craft these things. Wow, an ender chest for an item card? And an ender tank for the fluid card? I mean, okay. Okay, how about the filter? We can do the filter one, right? That's the one we need. Someone does not like the fact that we're getting into Laser IO here. The Lords of Inferno is going to spawn another portal. A ghast portal? Wait, where is it? Hey, don't kill the villagers. Oh, this is so bad. Okay, I'm fine with that. Not enough space to spawn more? Sure. Okay, we got our 4 lasers here and the filters. So we want to connect them all to the bottom one. We can do that with the wrench. And we want to extract from the depot, which means we need the item card on extract. And it has to be in the same face that you want it to extract from. So in this case, it's going to be the east face. Item card goes inside, right click, change to extract. And we just want it to go back into the pattern provider. This has a return inventory, and anything put inside here will automatically go back into our AE system, assuming it actually has space for it to be placed inside. And so in this one, we want another insertion card on the east face this time. But we do want to make sure we filter this for only plates. Yeah, so now we can request the iron plates, and it should be pulled off the depot, and also cleared off the crafting status here. Yes, it is. Perfect. Awesome. And so the lasers only pull off the finished product here from the depot. And now that we have this set up, we can also encode things like copper and also things like aluminium, basically any other plate, as so long as we add it into the insertion filter here on this laser. However, this is only the beginning of the auto-crafting process. Next on the list is to make andesite alloy in the mixer. I would also like to somehow replace these furnaces. Vanilla furnaces at this point in the game are a no-go. I am so done with these things. Looking ahead at some of the quests, we're going to have to get into immersive engineering, and that is a lot of multi-blocks. And it is also a lot of wires to make, which we can make in the metal press. So now that we got the basics down, I'm going to spend some time here and see... That's a bit close. I'm going to spend some time here and see how much we can get automated. Wow, this all came together extremely fast here. Check it out. So we got a bunch of new additions into our boiler room. This place is coming alive here. I love it. So let me take you through some of the features of this new boiler room. So I mentioned we needed some new furnaces, right? Well, we have some encased fans back there, and we can actually smelt up to a stack at a time. We are still using the hand cranks, since for smelting at least, it doesn't actually matter how fast you spin the fans. It all smelts in exactly the same time. Any second now, we should get a stack of electrum ingots. There we go. This is all still a manual process right now, since to automate this fully, we would have to filter every single smeltable item. And there is thousands of smeltable items, I'm just not going to do that. We are instead going to wait for the FTB IC powered furnace, which means we should just be able to pipe in and out of this thing. So on the opposite side of the room, we have a similar setup here, but this time it's for Soulfire. Yeah, this is for bulk haunting, as it's called in Create. It's definitely not something that we actually need. We can infest blocks this way. I mean, I guess we can get things like Prismarine. It's mainly just for symmetry anyway. So moving on down the room, this one here actually caught me off guard a bit. So I mentioned about the immersive engineering multi-blocks, and one of the components in there is the heavy engineering block, which takes steel sheet metal, right? I thought this was going to be the exact same as the iron one, but no. We need to put steel plates through a sequence. It looks more complicated than it actually is. Basically, we just have to stamp it 3 times with mechanical presses. So we have a pattern provider, which provides the steel plates. That goes onto the belt, gets stamped 3 times, goes to the depot, and then underneath we have a laser, which brings it back into the pattern provider back there. Yeah, look at this thing go. This is amazing. And you can also hear the metal presses. I got all of these things set up now. I encoded a few more recipes, but there's still a few that are missing as well that we have to add to the filters. And speaking of filters, on the opposite side of the room, my goodness, this was a lot of filtering right here. And it's still not finished either. So the middle one here is a mechanical mixer. Wait, maybe I should get a terminal. Yeah, so let's say we request andesite alloy. It's going to put zinc nuggets and andesite into this basin. And then somewhere back there, you can just barely see it, there's a pipe which brings it back into the pattern provider underneath. And that puts it back into our AE system. That one there is very simple. The other 2 is for deployer setups. And the deployers are meant for things like brass casing, which means we have to deploy a brass ingot onto stripped logs. The brass goes inside the deployer and the stripped logs goes inside the depot. The only one I have encoded right now is for copper casing, which is exactly the same recipe, except it's copper instead of brass you deploy. So yeah, the stripped logs go into the depot. It gets deployed with copper and turns into the casing. And then it all gets taken back from these lasers back into a pattern provider. These ones actually buffer in a chest though. So it goes pattern provider into chest, then chest into deployer and into depot. And we're using lasers to make sure we filter the correct items into their correct locations. And then also a laser with an extract card for the finished product. Once again using the hand cranks, the cheaty hand cranks. I love those things. Realistically, it doesn't actually need to be like super fast, right? And the final setup here is something that's not hooked up because we don't have any rotational force. I mean, we could use hand cranks again, but on this one here, I have an extra boiler set up just as a temporary measure. Or it might stay, I'm not actually sure. But yeah, this setup here will be for precision mechanisms. Slightly more complex setup, but actually maybe not even something that we need. It's only used in a handful of recipes here, so maybe we just do this one manually. It's mainly just for symmetry again, to balance out the look of the room. Looks like our flight potion is almost out here. Now it's full again. Yeah, you can actually put mending on this flight elixir, it's awesome. You can have infinite flight that way. And with that, I think it's also a good point to wrap up this episode. I had so much fun today. I love this sort of stuff. And I feel like we made some pretty decent progress today. There's still a lot to do though, of course. Lots more to go in Inferno. Oh nice, the smeltery is upgraded. But we're still waiting on the mine though. I don't know exactly what they need. Oh, flowers. Flowers and stripped logs. That is something we actually need to set up. Some way to strip logs, especially for the casings down there in Create. Anyways, that is going to do us for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.